Hello everyone, this is Krishna from CAD in Mac, and this is my tutorial number 4. If you had watched the last video, you must remember that I had said I'll be teaching dimension style today, and this particular tutorial is very important. It's one of the setups or settings, as we call it, you need to do before you actually start working with AutoCAD. Be it AutoCAD 2016, be it 2013 or 14 or whatever, be it on Mac or be it on Windows or whatever operating system you're working on, dimension style is absolutely an important part of working with AutoCAD or setting up AutoCAD before you start working. Now, before I start, let me remind you that on the other day I had drawn these dimension lines on these particular figures. I mean, I had drawn this circle, and I had drawn the diameter and the radius. I had drawn this arc and its length and whatever. But on the last day, you must be remembering that you were very clearly able to see the dimensions, but today you are not able to see that. But if I zoom in enough, you'll be able to see the dimension. If I zoom in enough, you'll be comfortably be able to see the dimensions. That's because today the I have set it to default dimension. I have not set it up. The thing that I am doing right now, you need to do it before you actually start drawing. So that's what you do with dimension style. With dimension style, you can customize your dimensions. You can customize your dimension lines, you can customize your diameters, you can customize whatever you want to, or with dimension lines that contains dimension lines. So I'm really going to dig deep into this dimension style thingy because it's one of the most important part that you are going to learn on AutoCAD. So please do pay attention, and let's start. So to go to dimension style, you have got three options. The first one being, you go to format and then go to dimension style, select dimension style, and there we have the dialog box for dimension style. The other option that you can go for is go to dimension and then go to dimension style. That opens the same dialog box. Or the last thing that you can do is you can select the dimension, right click on it, and then go to dimension style from over here, and you can go to you can select whatever dimension style you want to go for, and you can also create a new dimension style from over here. Okay, so for this particular tutorial, I'll go to format and then go to dimension style. So when I click on that, it gives me this particular dialog box. So you can see that it's set on IS-25. It's one of the default dimensions that are available with AutoCAD, be it any AutoCAD, not particular to 2016 or Mac or Windows. So this is there. This interface is actually pretty similar to the Windows version of AutoCAD. So if you are a Windows user and you're watching this video on dimension styles, you can absolutely watch it because it's more or less similar to that of Windows. There are very small differences that you'll be getting, and I'll be telling you the differences that you'll be getting. So first you get this dialog box. So what you need to do is you need to create a new dimension style so that you can use that dimension style in other drawings as well. You can use that dimension style in other drawings or other parts of your drawing that you're making right now. So to make a new dimension style in Macintosh, what you do is you click on this plus sign. If you are a Windows user, instead of this plus sign, you'll be getting add. There will be a button on which it will be written add. You need to add a new dimension style. So in Macintosh, it's plus, you add. So I click on the plus sign, and what I get is renaming a new dimension style. So as because we are doing a tutorial for today, so I name this dimension style as tutorial 4 and click on continue. We have this particular dialog box. Now this is the most important part of the most important part of dimension style, and I'm going to dig deep into it, so please do pay attention. Now the first tab as it is selected is lines. Now the first option that we have in lines is color, the color of the dimension line that you want to draw. That's the color of the line. The second option that you have, you can absolutely select whatever color you want to. If you are not satisfied with the colors that are present over here, you can actually select a color from the with the varied color options that are available. You can select whatever color you want to. The second option is the line type. Over here you can see that there are solid lines or continuous lines. You can add dashed lines, dotted lines, and whatever you want to. Over here you can only see a continuous line and dashed double dotted line. So if you suppose you want a dotted line, what you do is you go to manage, then you select load, then you get all these options that you can select, so that you get to apply these dimension styles on your drawing. Suppose I want this dotted line. So what I do is I select this particular option and then select add and press on OK. We have these lines added to it. So here we are. If we select this option, then what will happen is whatever dimension we put into the drawing will be a dotted line. But conventionally, in convention, dimensions are actually solid lines. So I'm going to stick with the solid line or the continuous line option over here. The third option is line weight. Line weight is actually nothing but the thickness of the line that you want to give in. If you want a more thicker line, more than 2.11 millimeter, that's the highest template available, you can go to manage and you can you can add whatever line you want to. It's absolutely simple. You can do that, and you can also change the measurement to inches. So over here it will be absolutely dependent on whatever I'm drawing, so it will be by block. Okay, so suppose, yeah, okay, the fourth option is baseline spacing. Now baseline spacing is actually the distance. Suppose you have an overlapping dimension. So let me show you. Suppose you have this line and you have another line over here like this. Now what you need to do is suppose I want to measure the dimension of this line and also the dimension of this line. Now the automatic distance between these two particular dimensions is actually the dimension spacing. So if I want, now you can see that I have exited dimension style. So if I want to modify the dimension style that I was setting up, I can go to format, select dimension style, select okay, so I did not save it, so I'll have to create the dimension style all over again. I didn't save it, so I crossed it out. So tutorial 4 and continue. There we have it. That's the baseline spacing as I was talking about. If I had pressed on OK, I could have got this saved dimension style, and I just could have, modified the already saved dimension style. I'll be going into that later on. Now okay, the next part that we come to is extension line. Now extension lines are these little lines that you can see over here. Yeah, those are these lines, as you can see, that are extended over the dimension lines, the dimension brackets. You can also change those. Suppose I want those to be red, so these become red. Those are extension line. But over here I want them to be white. Now you can absolutely change the type of line that you want to use over here. As you can see, you can click on whatever thickness you want, whatever type of line you want, and whatever, you can do that. Okay, so we go to the second option, that's symbols and arrows. Now when you given a dimension, you must have noticed that there are arrows and there are leaders, arrows, and whatsoever. So leader is actually an arrow pointing to a particular, suppose in school, when we used to draw a toad in biology, we used to point out its pancreas and whatsoever. We used to do that. So that the arrows that we used to draw, those were called leaders. Now over here you can see first and second. First and second are actually this is the first leader of the dimension, and this is the second leader of the dimension. You can change the type of the type of leader that you want to give in. Suppose I want the closed one. So here I cannot actually zoom in, but if I selected that would give me this type of dimension. Now you can see that automatically the second line is also changed, but I can change it. I can change it. I can customize it accordingly if I want to. Now you can see that if I zoom into it, so if you select that, well, as you can see that over here, if the first dimension leader actually becomes solid, and the second dimension leader actually becomes this closed option that you have given in. If you select the closed filled again, it becomes closed filled, as you can see. Over here I'll keep it accordingly. I'll keep the default settings. You can alter the arrow size from over here. Now break size. Now break size, actually, suppose two dimensions are overlapping each other. Let me show you. Suppose two dimensions are overlapping each other. For example, this one, you can actually add a break between these two lines so that there is no confusion. So that there is no confusion when you are actually drafting the drawing. So, that's called a break distance. So you add that in order to actually distinguish the dimension line from the actual drawing, or distinguish between two dimension lines. That's the break size. Now the next part that we come to is jog angle. Now you must be knowing that suppose I have a line like this. And let's measure the length of the line. You can see that it's 442.19, but we actually don't want it like that. It's actually jogged. It's actually the dimension of the line is actually much more that we can see. So in a drawing, what we do is we actually take jogged from here and we actually put it like this. So let me show you. So then let me show you, that's a jog line. That means that this line has a higher dimension than it's mentioned. So what we do is we select the dimension line, we right click on it, we go to dimension style from here and click on annotative. So here what we can do is we can double click and we can change the we can change the value that you want to. Suppose it's suppose it's 1000 millimeters. Enter. You want to say, yeah. So there, the length of the actual line is not 1000, but it's not actually it's not actually 490 whatever the value was showing, but it's 1000. So here you can see a jogged line. The angle between the two lines over here is the jogged angle dimension that you were seeing over there. So we go to dimension style again and we go to modify, and as we were seeing, this jogged angle is actually the angle between those lines. It was actually the angle between the lines that when we were drawing the jogged angle notation. Now the next part that we go to is textile. Now textile is textile, you can actually add different types of textiles from here. You want to add a different font style to your dimensions, you can actually absolutely do that. You'll also, if you select on the different types of textiles that are present, you'll also be able to see the characteristics of the font. You can see over here Bodoni 72, it's bold, italicized and regular. So that's that. You can absolutely select the text color, you can select the fill color of the text, you can absolutely select the text height, and you can also position the text. It's over here you can see that the text is actually above the dimension line, vertically above, horizontally centered, and we see it from left to right. We can actually see it from left to right. So that's the view direction, and that's it. There is an offset from the dimension line. That's the distance between the dimension line and the text that is present over here. That's the offset from the dimension line. So the next part is fit. Fit is a very important part of dimension style. Now actually this part actually helps you to show the dimension in a case that we are in right now. Right now we are unable to see the dimension until and unless we zoom into it, but with the help of this option fit, you can actually increase the size of the dimension or decrease the size of the dimension, and you won't have to individually increase the size of the arrow. You don't have to individually increase the size of the text and whatever. You don't need to do that. Everything that you want to do can be done through this particular interface very easily in only one step. Now before we go to that part, let us first see the left part over here. Just read as it says. If there is not enough room, the first to place outside extension lines is. So if there many drawings are actually very complicated and very congested, so in that case what do you want AutoCAD to do? Do you want AutoCAD to actually place the text outside, or you want to place the arrows outside? What do you want to do? So the first option is the best option that you can use. It's either text or arrows. So if this option is selected, what AutoCAD does is it actually selects the best option for you. If the space is very cramped up, what AutoCAD does is it either keeps the text outside the drawing, or it keeps the arrows outside the drawing. Whatever is required, AutoCAD does it automatically. You actually don't need to worry about it. So that's it. But if you want to alter or you want to customize according to your needs or according to your wants, you can absolutely do that. If you select arrows, the arrows will go outside and the text will be there inside. You can do whatever you want to do through dimension style, and this is one of the examples that I can give you. So this is the next part is text placement. When text is not in the default position, place it. So if the text is not positionable in the default position, where do you want to place the text? So the options that are available with you is beside the dimension line. You suppose you give this dimension line and then you extend a line and then give the dimension, you can do that. Over dimension line with leader, if you want this to be the only option available to AutoCAD, you can also do that. These are very trivial parts of AutoCAD. Now let's come to the very important part of AutoCAD, and that's this one. Now over here you can see that over here you can see that if you click on annotative, what you can do is you can alter you can actually alter the format of the dimension that you have put in anytime you want with the help of right clicking on it and changing the format or the characteristics of it. But I don't want to select it. I want it to be more versatile and whatsoever. So what we do is we go to use overall scale off. So in this case what we do is, suppose you're trying in this, understanding this part is pretty a little difficult, but let me tell you that suppose your drawing is actually in a scale of 1:2. That is, if you draw the line of 2, if you actually draw a line of 1 millimeter, it actually means that you have drawn a line of 2 millimeters in the 1:1 drawing. Now if you have drawn suppose you have drawn a drawing of scale, suppose 10. Suppose you have made a drawing of scale 10. What it means is 1 millimeter will actually give you 10 millimeters. So that's the implication that you want to give in. Over here what you do is you actually multiply with the denominator. I mean, suppose you have a scale of 1/2, so you multiply by 2 over here. So the use overall scale of value will be 2. Now suppose if it's 100, then the overall, if you dial 100 over there, the dimensions will be very legible. Over here, just to show you, I'm going to type 10. I don't actually have a scale over here, so I'll be just giving in an arbitrary number just to make you understand. So there we are. The next part is primary units. So here what we do is you can actually alter the method by which the different dimensions are shown. Suppose in decimals you can change it into scientific, as you can see, whatever E's and R's and whatever. You can change it to engineering, where you can see that there's feet and inches. You can also go to architectural, and there we see that it's in feet and inches and whatsoever. So just for the simplicity, we are going to stay with decimal systems. It's very simple. It's 280.66, as you can see in the preview. After that, we have the precision, where you can select the number of zeros or the number of values you want after the decimal point. For convenience, we're going to select this particular value. It's much easier that way. So decimal separator, so this is the decimal separator. That's a stop that we give in when we write. So we have selected comma over here. If I want a period, like a full stop, a stop that we generally write while solving a mathematical problem, you can also do that by selecting that. Just saw that it got changed into a period, but default it comes in comma, so I'll be staying over there. So you can also round a value off, or we can round a value up to a particular number of zeros. And after that, we come to angular dimensions. In angular dimension, if I select on that, you can see that the readings can be given in either only decimal degrees or degree, minutes, seconds, gradients and radians. Now suppose I want to go for degree, minutes and second. I want my dimensions to be very precise in degrees, minutes and second, and not in a decimal. So what options are available with me? The options are these. The options are degree and minute, degree and minute, degree, minute and second, degree, minute and second, degree, minute and seconds in decimal. So I have these options available, and the more you go down, the precision will increase. Now in this case, in my case, I'll suppose I select this one. Okay, so that's almost it. These are not very important for your working. I'll go to OK, and then I'll select my dimension style that I have created. I'll go to this option, set current, and close. There we are. Now if I draw a line, suppose I have this line, and I go to dimension, linear. As you can see, the dimension is much more legible. You don't actually need to zoom in. As you can see, for the other dimension, you actually need to zoom in this much, but for that one, you don't actually need to zoom in that much. It's easily visible. So that's what you do with the dimension style. Now you actually need to understand dimension style very very attentively, very carefully, so that you can actually set up AutoCAD before you actually start working with it. Hope you have learned something from this video, because that's what is always important. If you like the video, please do subscribe to my channel. Please do like my video. That would help very much. Thank you, and the next video or the 5th tutorial will be available online very soon. Thank you.